If you've ever found yourself digging through 3 tote bags in a kitchen drawer just to find a 4mm crochet hook, or bought yarn you swear you didn't already own until you get home and realize you now have 5 skeins in the exact same color, then hi, welcome, you're not alone. So today we're exploring 5 habits that organized crocheters swear by. The kind of things that promise to make your projects go smoother, your supplies tidier, and your creative space a whole lot calmer. Oh wait, did you think that I was the organized crocheter? Oh no! But I've been secretly studying their ways, and I'm going to be putting these 5 habits to the test to see if they can help this disorganized crocheter to pull it together, or at least stop losing my stitch markers in the couch. The first habit we're going to start with is cataloging my yarn stash. This feels like the pinnacle of organized crocheter behavior, like the holy grail, the thing that every truly organized crocheter does. This is the kind of thing that sounds really satisfying in theory, and if I'm completely honest, a little overwhelming. As I was doing my research into what organized crocheters do, this kept coming up over and over again, and I can see how this could be extremely beneficial. But for me, this is new territory. I have never tried to catalog my yarn stash. In the past, I've tried to keep notes about which yarns I have, and honestly, I never keep up with it. I always forget about it, and it ends up not being helpful at all. And I was researching the most common ways that organized crocheters catalog their yarn stashes, and I found 3 most popular. The first method is the one that I'm most naturally drawn to, and the one that I've attempted in the past and failed at, and that's good old-fashioned paper and pencil. I found a great free downloadable template from Look at What I Made, and I will leave a link for her blog in the description box below so you can get it yourself. I definitely tend to gravitate towards physical tools like this. They feel really comfortable, and there's something super satisfying about flipping through the pages afterwards. But I have decided that this is not right for me, and the biggest reason is that I am going to forget that it exists. I'm the kind of person that if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. I will get all excited about cataloging this, and then in 3 months I will forget that it even exists. Another common way that organized crocheters catalog their yarn stash is with a spreadsheet. What I really like about this option is that it is fully customizable. You can break it down by fiber weight, yarn brand, yardage, or even fiber type. Now this really does sound amazing, and I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people who love spreadsheets. And that's why it's not going to work for me. I have tried and tried to use spreadsheets, and it goes back to once I close that tab on that spreadsheet, I'm just going to forget that it exists. Now this brings me to my third and final option, and the one that I think has the best chances of working for me, and that's Ravelry. Ravelry has an entire stash section where you can add each one of the yarns that you want to add to your collection, and what I like is that a lot of the information about each one of the yarns is already in Ravelry, especially if you're using something that's commercially available. You can add so much information about how much you have, the colors, how much you paid, where did you buy it at, and you can also add any notes about the yarn that you want to include. But what swayed me was that this is the method that I saw over and over again being used by the truly organized crocheters. So this is the method that I'm going to try. Am I going to love it? I don't know. Am I going to stick with it? I don't know. But if this is what the organized crocheters are doing, I'm going to do it too. Trying to become an organized crocheter has me rethinking a lot of things, and not just my yarn stash and my whip baskets, but also how I keep things clean and simplified in everyday life. And that's where today's sponsor, Blueland, comes in. As I've been tidying up my crochet supplies and attempting to build better habits, I've been thinking about how clutter isn't just yarn related. Blueland has made it so much easier to simplify my cleaning routine. Their products are free from all the harsh stuff. No phosphates, no chlorine bleach, no parabens, and instead of dozens of plastic bottles filling up, you just use their refillable system, making them 100% microplastic free. I started with their Clean Essentials kit, and that covers all the basics. All you have to do is fill the bottle with water, drop in the cleaning tab, and that's it. And then I picked up their laundry tabs, which work so well. They're powerful, effective, and I love that the ones I have are scent-free. No overpowering fragrances, just clean clothes, and I love that it's a low-waste option that fits right into my routine. But the part that really sold me is how eco-friendly they are. No single-use plastic in anything. Not the bottles, not the tablets, and not even the shipping packaging. It's all compostable and completely guilt-free. So if you're like me and you're trying to make everything from the yarn to the kitchen sink a little more organized and intentional, Blueland is definitely worth a look. And Blueland is sharing a special offer just for my viewers. All you have to do is scan the QR code or click the link in the description box to get 15% off your first kit. A huge thank you to Blueland for sponsoring today's video and helping me to be a more organized person. So I'm starting with Yarn Art Jeans because this is the yarn that is one of the most important to me, because I use this a lot to design amigurumi toys, and I have a good amount of it. But I also decided that I'm not going to catalog partial skeins because that's just too much work. So I'm only going to do full skeins, and I'm going to go ahead and separate them out. I've got them all separated out, and now I'm just going to take each one of these skeins and put it into Ravelry, and let's see what we've got. That took so much longer than I thought it was going to. So there's no way I could get through all of my yarn, but I am going to add one more yarn because this is a new one that I'm going to be testing out. It's the Quince & Co. Chickadee, and I'm just going to go ahead and quickly add this in. I want to get into the habit that if a new yarn comes in, that I can go ahead and add it to Ravelry right away, because playing catch up is not fun. I have 2 yarns in my stash now, and I like that you can filter it by weight, you can filter it by fiber type, and you can also filter it by color to be able to look through your stash. And I think my only concern is how much time it's going to take to inventory all of this yarn and catalog it. But I'm also trying to remind myself that I can take time. I don't have to do it today, but I do see how this could be really beneficial. If you're enjoying this video and you want to stay in the loop, make sure to sign up for my weekly-ish newsletter. It's the first place that I share updates, behind the scenes projects, sneak peeks to new designs, and anything extra that doesn't make it into the videos. It's cozy, low pressure, and I would love for you to be a part of it. You'll find a link in the description box below if you would like to join in. And it's totally free. The next habit that I discovered that super organized crocheters do is this. They don't just start a crochet project, they track it. They track the hook size. They track the day they started. They track the yarn they use and even the pattern. It's all written down somewhere. Some keep detailed crochet journals, some just use little note cards or sticky notes, and some go fully digital and use an app on their phone. When I started thinking about how I would keep track of my own crochet projects, it made me think about another hobby that I truly enjoy, and that's reading. I'm a huge bookworm, and I keep track of all the books that I want to read, the books that I'm currently reading, and the books that I finish. I do all of this on Goodreads, and it is so satisfying to look back each year and see the books that I've read, look through my catalog of books that I want to read, and even remind myself of the books that I'm currently reading. So that got me thinking, what if I think about my crochet projects in the exact same way? So after looking into a few different options, I have decided to track my whips in Ravelry. They have a projects tab where I can write down all of that information. And what I like about this option is that because I'm using Ravelry to catalog my yarn stash, tracking my projects feels like a more natural fit. And currently I have 2 whips. Thank goodness, only 2. And what I think is really going to work for me and the way that my brain functions is to try to keep as much in one place as possible. I'm crossing my fingers and I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 whips into the Ravelry project section. I really hope this is going to work for me. I just finished adding my 2 whips to the Ravelry projects page and I am feeling myself. I am feeling so organized right now. I don't know why this gave me a total dopamine hit. I was just like, I don't know, this one was really fun. And what was crazy is that as I was looking at my project page, I used to add some of my projects in there, which is absolutely crazy. Honestly, I don't even remember that I used to do that, but I like this. It really is giving me that Goodreads vibe where now I want to finish the projects so that I can check them off. And so I'm excited to get started on the next habit. Maybe I am going to end up being organized after all. Probably not. Let's not kid ourselves. But listen, I can feel organized today. This 3rd habit is one that I've seen many organized crocheters swear by, and that's keeping their crochet hooks organized and cataloged. And honestly, I think that this might be one of the most helpful habits to develop, for me at least. So let's start with my current situation. My crochet hooks are scattered in multiple different areas around my house. Here in my craft room where I have a majority of my crochet hooks. I've got a couple of whip baskets upstairs in my living room where I keep random hooks for projects that I'm working on. I also have a cute little tote that I keep my notions in, and I have some random crochet hooks in there. And then earlier this morning, as I was walking by my dining room, I found a crochet hook just sitting on my dining room table, and I have no idea how it got there. For most of my crochet projects, especially amigurumi, I'm using this same exact crochet hook, and I do keep that one close by. But if I ever need a crochet hook that is outside of my 2.5 millimeter hook, I have to go on a treasure hunt. I have to go to all of these different areas. I've got to weed through all of the other crochet hooks, and usually I find that I end up having more than one crochet hook in the exact same size. So my first step is simple. I just want to gather up all of the crochet hooks and put them into one place. But this next step is equally important, and actually maybe even slightly more important, and that is to catalog every single size crochet hook that I have. That way, when I want to start a new crochet project, I will already know what sizes I have in my collection. That is going to save time and money. Just like cataloging the yarn stash, there are lots of different ways that you can accomplish cataloging your crochet hook stash. But again, I'm just going to do this in Ravelry because I can keep everything in one neat, tidy little place. I got every single crochet hook cataloged, and now I need to organize them all, but this was very enlightening. The first is I have way too many crochet hooks. That's just a given right now, but I only use 3 different brands on a regular basis. I almost never use anything else. I use Clover Amour, I use my Addy Comfort Grip, and I use my Furls Odyssey, Streamline, Resin. I use those hooks. Everything else I never touch. So I need to make some decisions, but now I just need to get them all in one place, and that's a good thing. At this point in the video, I feel like I'm just bearing my soul. This next habit is no exception. Let's talk about organizing whips, or works in progress. Now, I currently have 2 active whips, and the first is Mrs. Humphrey. This is my amigurumi design. She is the wife of Mr. Humphrey, who is already out. I've already published that one. It's a free pattern. I've got a video tutorial, the whole deal. And so now I'm working on Mrs. Humphrey, and I'm working on version 2. And this is when I make sure that the details are all correct and that I like the way the pattern is written. And I do think that she is absolutely adorable, if I do say so myself. But the basket that I'm keeping this project in is an absolute disaster. Honestly, I don't know why I do this. I start off with my little project basket being very neat and tidy, and over time it just becomes a dumping ground, and I add yarns that I'm not even using, papers that don't belong there. I don't understand why this happens, and it happens all the time. My second whip is a blanket, and this is based on Mr. and Mrs. Humphrey, and I'm calling it Mr. and Mrs. Humphrey's Flower Garden, and it's based on their love of gardening, and that basket as well is a complete mess. It's utter chaos. And here's the thing is that when I look at these baskets and I see the chaos inside them, it just deters me from wanting to work on those projects, because now I have to dig through and find what I really need. I have to move things away. I have to take random skeins of yarn that I just have in this basket for why? I have no idea. And so it makes me feel creatively paralyzed, and it makes me want to avoid this at all costs. So I'm going to go ahead and rework these baskets, get them super organized, and I really think that this is going to encourage me to want to pick them up because it's not going to feel like chaos. Getting my whip baskets organized is probably the most satisfying task I've done so far, and it's just making me want to ditch every other responsibility I have today and just get to work on these projects. And I did discover something really important, and the reason why these baskets were kind of a mess and there were other yarns in here, there was so much just random stuff in here. It's because now I know, after going through all of this, is I would get an idea to try something, and I would grab that yarn, I would grab a different hook, I would grab random things like color cards, and I would stick them in here and I would work on it, and then I would decide that that's not something I wanted to do, and it would just go down into the basket and it wouldn't leave. And that is my problem, is that I don't put things away. I get creative and I want to experiment with something, and then it just gets dumped somewhere. And so I'm going to try to develop the habit of, when I do something and I decide not to complete it, just put it away and keep these whip baskets just for the whips and the supplies needed. And for me, that's easier said than done. I'm feeling so good, and the last task that I need to tackle is my little notions caddy right here. This is my go-to place that I keep all of my notions, and up until this point it's been a bit of a disaster. Now, I do have two separate sections. The top section is for all of the notions that I use on a very regular basis. This is the disaster part. The rest of it on the bottom part is actually extremely organized, and that's because I never use those items and I even forgot that they were there. So this is just going to take a few minutes. I've already taken out all of the random crochet hooks that were in here, so let's tackle this last thing. That took a max of 5 minutes, and I don't know why I haven't done this sooner, but this feels really good to have my caddy completely organized. Woo! Oh my goodness, I am so glad that I made myself do this. This was one of these tasks that I wasn't looking forward to, but now that I've done all 5 of them, I can see why, if you do these things on a regular basis, that you will be a very organized crocheter. Now, does that mean that I'm going to stick with all 5 of these? I'm not sure, and out of all 5 of them, there's only one that I'm kind of on the fence if I will continue to do, and that's cataloging my yarn stash. The biggest reason is that I review a lot of yarns here on my channel, and so it's not really my personal collection in a lot of ways. So it helped me to see, though, that I need a system for if I'm testing a yarn that is not going to be part of my personal collection, I need to have a better system for moving it on out. I also discovered that I have way too many crochet hooks, and it also goes back to the fact that I test them for the channel, and I need to have a system for testing, and if they're not going to become part of my personal collection, they just need to move on out. But the other 3 habits I want to continue doing. I really enjoyed adding my whips to Ravelry. I love having my whip baskets completely organized, and my little caddy, that shouldn't take much effort to keep that organized on an every single day basis. So now I want to hear from you. Number 1, if you're already a very organized crocheter, please leave all of your tips in the comment section below. We need to hear from you. But if you're a little more like me and you have a bit of a squirrel brain and you struggle in this area, let me know which of these habits you want to incorporate. I think it would be so much fun for us to encourage each other to keep on getting ourselves organized and not just do it that one time, but do it on a daily basis. I'm gonna need a lot of help, so guys, hold me accountable. But I hope you have a great rest of your week. Stay safe and happy stitching, and get organized.